back to another video. For today's video, as read by the title, it is going to be ranking the worst to the best ships of the Vampire Diaries. I'm gonna give a brief history with me and the show, okay? For most of you have known already that I actually like the Vampire Diaries is another show that I absolutely loved, and it's one of my favorites. I've said that in my review of my favorite TV couples. If you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna link it in the description box. I honestly really love the Vampire Diaries. There were a few like flaws for me in there, like I would say towards like the beginning of season 8 when they did the whole like time jump and siren story. I kind of lost like the main focus of the show. Maybe it's just me, but I just didn't really enjoy that story. But otherwise, everything else, the Vampire Diaries, I loved it. I love this show. I still love it. I still watch a few scenes from it. I still rewatch it sometimes. My sister is the one who's more obsessed with this show than I am. I also watched it around the same time that I started watching Riverdale. Like, I've heard about this show when I was a little younger, but I was still living with my parents, and watching gore or like stuff like vampires and stuff, I couldn't, it wasn't really allowed. So but now I did eventually end up watching it once I, you know,
had my own phone, had my own computer, paid for all that stuff.
Season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, and season 5 are my absolute favorite seasons. Season 6 was like, okay, you know, it was okay, but I forgot to say that the Kai storyline, that was great. Today I'm going to be talking about the worst ships, in my opinion, in the show, up the way to the best. So I'm going to be naming 5 couples that I thought had absolutely no chemistry, and I have no idea why they decided to go through with that. And then I'm going to name 5 couples who I think have the best chemistry and who I shipped. And the number 1 will be the end game couple for me. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Joyce. I do makeup looks, reactions, reviews, and song covers. And if you stay on this channel, I promise you will not regret one single second. I'm very excited to get into this video. Without further ado, let's get on with this video. Okay, so we're going to start with my the worst ships on the Vampire Diaries, the couples that I was like, ugh. And we're gonna do the opposite countdown. So instead of doing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, I'm gonna start with number 5. Number 5, the couple who had the worst chemistry, in my opinion, is Matt and Caroline. I'm sorry to like the Matt and Caroline fans. If you ship them, that is completely okay. That's great. I'm happy for you. Oh my goodness, I hated them
so much. Like, they were the worst of the worst.
I honestly wish they would have just stayed friends. I didn't feel any chemistry. I don't think they had any chemistry. I felt like they were both like lonely. Caroline, she got rejected from both Salvatores, like Damon and Stefan. And she initially had a crush on Stefan, you know, and then afterwards, Damon like freaking abused her and took advantage of her by like sucking her blood and stuff. And then afterwards she was lonely, and then Matt was lonely because like Elena dumped him and then went out with Stefan. So they were both lonely, and I felt like that's why they got together. To me, to actually like a couple with chemistry, at least they'll have to have one thing in common, or there needs to be like it needs to be a slow burn. I felt like Matt deserved better. Matt in the show was the only like person who was normal, basically, and I feel like he doesn't deserve any of that life, you know? So he doesn't deserve that life where he has to worry about his neck being bitten or like losing some blood or dying or becoming a vampire, you know? Like, I feel like it's like he has the perfect normal life, and he should end up with someone who will match his interests, who will actually not reject him or won't leave him for someone else, or is not like a vampire or like a witch or whatever. Again, nothing wrong in the show, but I feel like Matt like has more chemistry with girls that are not into that kind of stuff. I'm so glad they finished with that, you know? So yeah, I'm not sorry. Matt and Caroline, I'm sorry. I like you guys as characters, but in a couple, y'all deserve, you know, to be with other people. I am still glad that they remain friends. That is something I'm very glad about. Number 4, and that is Bonnie and Jeremy. I did like them. I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't, because I did. But after season 4, then I was just like,
nah, sorry.
It felt kind of too repetitive. It was either Bonnie was leaving, she left out of town to go see her parents, or Bonnie would die and then she would come back to life, or she would go on the other side. I felt like it was always Bonnie, she would always like have to die or leave, or they never had like full time to explore their relationship. And also there was also Jeremy who cheated on Bonnie with Anna, well, ghost Anna. I do like how, like, I mean, I liked their chemistry at first, but I don't ship them. After season 4 or 5, I was just like, nah, sorry. The number 3 who has the worst chemistry on the show. Before I even say this, I just want to say, please, like, be respectful in the comments if you're going to disagree. But if you're going to agree with me, that's fine. And even it goes the same for you too. Be respectful, you know. I just want everybody to respect everybody's opinion. I feel like a lot of people are going to come at me for that, but I'm going to say it. Number 3, Stefan and Caroline. I'm sorry. I know Stefan and Caroline are like another fan favorite ship, but I honestly just see them as friends. I never ship them.
Ever.
I tried to after, like, I think in season 5 and in season 6. I tried to, especially when I was still watching the show. I really did try and try to see if I could like them, you know? But to me, it felt like it was kind of forced. And I like it when it's sort of like a slow burn. Especially if it's an endgame ship. I'm not saying that they didn't have their cute moments. They had their cute moments, and those moments I absolutely love. The time where in season 2, I thought they were so cute, where Stefan helped her and cleaned off the blood off of her when she was transitioning into becoming a vampire after killing a guy. I thought that scene was actually really, really cute. I'm not gonna lie. Otherwise, as a couple, like, I always felt like for me, they have the chemistry as like they should stay friends. I feel like they should have just stayed friends, but I understand why people find them cute together, because I will admit they did have their cute moments. Number 2, who has the worst chemistry in this show, Elena and Liam. I did not ship them. I'm pretty much sure a lot of my TVD fans did not ship Elena and Liam. Number 1 with the worst chemistry in the show, in my opinion, is Caroline and Alaric.
I'm sorry, but I have no idea why they even thought, like...
There are some fans that actually shipped Caroline and Alaric. Sorry, but not sorry. Actually, you know what? No, not sorry. Why would you ship them? Like, they were never together. They were just like it was Alaric's, like, Caroline was carrying Alaric's babies in her stomach, you know? And it's not like she was... Well, biologically, yes, she is the mother, but it's not like she's the actual mom, you know? And I get why you could, like, there could be some chemistry, because, like, you know, there's the bond that's right there, dad mom bond, and she's carrying your children, but, like, there's no romance. Like, I don't know why that happened. I was confused when Alaric said, "Oh,
I really, like, I have feelings for you, I love you."
And he asked her if she felt the same way, and she was all in. And then she said yes, and then they held hands, and that was, like, I think after the time jump, you know, and Stefan was with someone else and Caroline was with Alaric, you know. No, I did not feel any chemistry. I'm so glad they did not explore even further that relationship. I'm pretty much sure that everybody can agree that Caroline and Alaric, they made no sense. They were a terrible couple. There are some people who ship them. That's great for you. Let me know in the comments. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, guys, okay? I want to know your
thoughts in the comments.
Those are the worst TVD couples, in my opinion. So now let's move on to the best, the Vampire Diaries couples, in my opinion. We're going to start at number 5. Number 5, Caroline and Tyler. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, but they had so much chemistry. Like, I shipped them better than Caroline and Alaric. I shipped them better than, like, her with Stefan, and even her and Matt. Caroline and Tyler, their chemistry was fire. I loved the way they cared so much about each other. My favorite season for them is season 2 and in season 3. Like, they both never wanted to give up on each other. It just felt like they could understand, you know? Like, Tyler was becoming, at the end of season 2, he was transforming into a hybrid and into a werewolf. And Caroline, she was helping him, and she was like, "No, Tyler, I'm not gonna leave you there transition into a wolf, by yourself. Whenever he was in that cage and he was transforming and stuff, and he had to stay there. Otherwise, if he attacks a vampire, like, honestly, I love the scene where Tyler talks to Matt and he's like,
listen, I fell in love with Caroline, and I really didn't mean to, but she really cared about me, and I fell in love with her.
Afterwards, and then they had the most sexy scene, and that was the first episode in season 3 where like Caroline was all jealous that Tyler was flirting with another girl, and then like Caroline just went in for the kiss, and then they just hooked up. I still rewatched that scene so many times. Like I love Caroline and Tyler. I really love this couple. I love them as a couple, but there's not like my top favorite, like my obsession almost. And number 4, Bonnie and Enzo. Okay, Bonnie and Enzo, I honestly really love them together. I thought they had honestly like one of the best chemistries in the show. Bonnie was truly very happy with Enzo, which is what I wanted for Bonnie for like since season like 1. Not only she was my favorite character in the show, but she would always sacrifice her happiness with another person or her own happiness just to save either Elena's life or to save everybody else's life. She was the most selfless person in the show. Every time she would die, I would always end up crying. Like, especially her funeral, that was so sad. Like, I had so many tissues next to me. I remember when I watched that episode for the first time, I had so many tissues and I was so upset. Her and Enzo, I loved how they got together. I loved their hate-love relationship. Before, they were like butting heads, they were hating each other, and afterwards they got to know each other even better. And their New Year's Eve dance, or at New Year's, I think that was in season 7. Yeah, it was in season 7. So when they danced together, and then afterwards when they had their first kiss, and
oh my god, she was so happy with him.
And I was honestly happy to see her with Enzo, and Enzo was also at his happiest. Like, they were such a good balance for each other. So overprotective of each other in the best way, in the most romantic way. It sucked, when he died, and when she cried for him, when she was like, literally cried at the same time with her. I was like, no, why is it always Bonnie? Like, why can't Bonnie ever be happy? Number 3, okay, so this is honestly the most controversial ship in this show, and even in another show like the originals, because I literally like recently, like just now, because I had no idea before, but recently just now I found out that like what they did to one of the actresses, Leah Pipes. And obviously now that I just said that, I'm pretty much sure you guys know what is my 3rd favorite ship of the Vampire Diaries, and that is Klaus and Caroline. I'm sorry, Klaus and Caroline are like my number 1 out of all of the guys that she's dated. I honestly loved them together. I wish they would have explored them. I wish they would have actually become a couple. I know that like Klaus was a bad guy, and like he did so many horrible stuff to a lot of horrible people, Stefan, Elena, Damon, all their friends and stuff. Like, I know that. I know Klaus is, he was a bad guy, but he changed afterwards, and he became the best version of himself. I've never seen the originals, but I've seen a few clips, and I've seen a few like Klaus and Caroline scenes, and I've also seen Klaus and I forgot that girl's name, the girl, Leah Pipes. Like, I forgot what her name is in the originals, or even like, because I saw her a little bit in the Vampire Diaries, I think in season 6 or 7. I did really like those scenes, and I know the controversy behind it. I know that the Klaus and Caroline fans, they like made the actress like leave the show. I know that, I'm aware, and I think it's absolutely disgusting, because a ship's a ship. It's only a TV show. Like, I know the toxicity that goes on in this show, on the Vampire Diaries and the originals, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. I love how Caroline was the one who kind of brought out the soft side from Klaus. She brought his good side, she brought his soft side, and that's when like that's what I really loved about them, and how sometimes it was challenging. They were kind of playing hard to get. I love the flirtations. I love the dance. The moment where I really started to really ship them as a couple is when he gave Caroline He healed her. I think it was on her birthday. I think he gave Caroline some hybrid blood. Yeah, exactly. So he gave her some blood and stuff, and he's like, happy birthday, Caroline. I just love that. I thought it was kind of cute, to be honest, even though like at that time I wanted to fucking strangle Klaus. This guy was a bad dude, but I still like that moment, and I still watch it sometimes. Like, I love Klaus and Caroline together. I really do. I really ship them. I'm sorry. I really do. And nothing against Klaus and the other girl from the original. Nothing against them. So now we're at number 2. And number 2 is Stefan and Elena. So, of course, now that I've said that, most of you have probably already guessed what my number 1 is. They were one of my favorite ships. They were not my top favorite from the show, but they were one of my favorites. I loved them together. I loved their story. I loved their romantic story. I loved how it's just, they would do, Stefan is literally was willing to die for Elena, and Elena is willing to do so much for Stefan. I loved their chemistry, the first, the second, the third, and a little bit of the 4th season. Their scenes are so soft and cute, full of love, and I felt it, you know. My favorite scene till this day from Stefan and Elena is when Elena is the one to confess her feelings for Stefan first, when she's like,
you don't get to walk away from me. If you walk away, that's for you, because I know what I want. Stefan, I love you.
Sorry, I know the scene by heart because I've watched it so many fucking times. Like, I ship them way better than any other couple in season 1. Season 1, Stefan and Elena were my like obsession. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, my sister even knows this. Winnie, bitch, you know that season 1 through season 4, Stefan and Elena were like my obsession. I just love how Stefan was so protective of Elena, and Elena too. She was actually a very good balance for Stefan, and I really love their chemistry. They were so cute together. Still, Elena holds a special place in my heart forever. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 1, of course, most of you have probably already guessed it already, but for those of you who don't know, number 1, my top favorite, and that's not one of my favorites, but that is my ultimate absolute favorite couple, the endgame ship, Damon and Elena. Okay, I know that not everybody agrees that it's not Damon and Elena for them, that it's Stefan and Elena. And honestly, I'm not saying I don't get it, because I do. If it's Stefan, because Mia was Stefan and Elena at first, I still had a spot for Damon and Elena, especially after season 1. Season 2 is when I started to think that
maybe they're the ones who are meant to be together.
You know, I mean, Stefan and Elena, I would totally be down if they ended up together, but Damon and Elena, I mean, this guy honestly really changed for her. He became a good guy for her. Him stopping like to kill multiple like innocent victims, you know, by sucking the blood. I love it when it's like a love-hate relationship. Maybe it's just me, but I love it when it starts as a love-hate like a hate relationship, and then afterwards they become friends, and then afterwards they become lovers. I love that storyline. I love those love stories, and I love the love stories where it's love at first sight, and I love the love stories where it starts with a rejection story. Yeah, I just love Damon and Elena. They had the best chemistry. They have the best of the best chemistry in this show, and they're honestly my top favorite. Like, they're on another one of my couples who I'm so obsessed with. I love Damon and Elena. I love Damon and Elena. I'm sorry, Elena fans. Like, I do like Stefan and Elena, but for me, my top favorite is Damon and Elena. I just love their story. I love where it took to say the I love you. I loved that Elena, when afterwards she transitioned to becoming a vampire, she realized that all this time, yes, she did love Stefan, but she also loved Damon, you know, and her feelings grew more and more attached to Damon once, yes, she was sired by him. There was the sire bond and stuff, but afterwards, Damon really changed for the better, and that's because of her. And that's really, honestly, that is something that is absolutely relatable, which is why I grew to love Damon and Elena more than Stefan and Elena. This ends the video of ranking from the worst The Vampire Diaries couples to the best The Vampire Diaries couples. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. I would like to know in the comments which of these couples that I named from the worst to the best is your favorite or is not your favorite? What do you like? Who did you ship? Who did you not ship together? Let's have a discussion in the comments. I want to say that this is going to be like a series that I'm going to continue. So I talked about the best and the worst, and then my next Vampire Diaries video is going to be like the best characters to the worst characters. I'm going to be talking about them, and I can't wait to start this series. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and that is it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.